Yellowstone volcano. USGS reveals what would happen if this supervolcano erupted. It's considered a very high threat volcano. It's one of the 21 plus supervolcanoes of the Earth. It has over 60% of the world's geysers, over 10,000 hydrothermal areas, and it is deforming. It's inflating, especially in the area near Hepburn Lake on the southwest part of Wyoming. Yellowstone National Park has this huge supervolcano, and the USGS has revealed exactly what would happen if Yellowstone volcano erupted again with a super eruption, because it has erupted lava eruptions 70,000 years ago, for example, and another 80 eruptions since then. But should the supervolcano under the national park ever erupt, it could spell calamity for much of the US, and we have a map showing us that the ash cloud would cover the whole of the US. And here we have a comparison how much magma has erupted already. Various, Yellowstone, we have Long Valley, the second one. And we have Lava Creek, Yellowstone Lava Creek, Huckleberry Ridge. And this is what the future would hold. As you can see, all of the continental United States would be covered at least with 1 to 3 millimeters of ash. And of course, over Yellowstone would be the most intense. So if it would ever erupt with a super eruption, it could spell calamity for much of the US. Deadly ash would spew for thousands of miles across the country, destroying buildings, killing crops, affecting key infrastructure. But fortunately, the chance of this occurring is very low from what they say. Yellowstone houses the supervolcano, making it thousands of times more powerful than a normal-sized volcano. This supervolcano has had 3 enormous eruptions in the last 2 million years, 2.1 million years ago, 1.3 million years ago, and 664,000 or 630,000 years ago was a double eruption then. There's little indication another super eruption is due anytime soon. It's even possible Yellowstone might never have another eruption on a similar scale again, but we don't know. US researchers calculate how such an enormous eruption would affect nearby regions in the short term, meaning years to decades. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box. Now we know there is a mantle plume under Yellowstone. It's a mantle plume that originates from Baja California. It's shaped in a Y. The western part goes under the San Andreas Fault and the Walker Lane Fault system that has all the high threat volcanoes of California. And the eastern branch goes under the area of Utah coming into Wyoming, and then makes a west turn, 90-degree turn into Craters of the Moon of Idaho. And that's the mantle plume there. Now, a statement by USGS reads, parts of the surrounding states of Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming that are closest to Yellowstone would be affected by pyroclastic flows, while other places in the United States would be impacted by falling ash. And they said such eruptions usually form calderas, broad volcanic depressions created as the ground surface collapses as a result of withdrawal of partially molten rock from the magma below. Fortunately, they said, the chances of this sort of eruption at Yellowstone are exceedingly small in the next few thousands of years. Now, what is a Yellowstone supervolcano? Yellowstone National Park sits on top of a reservoir of hot magma. It's 3 to 5 miles underneath the surface. The hot magma is 5 miles deep, they say. It's fed by a large plume of molten rock welling up from hundreds of miles below. And the heat fuels Yellowstone's famed geysers, the hot springs, and its magma rises up into the chamber and cools. The ground above Yellowstone occasionally rises and falls. And we also have the magma comparisons, how much magma erupted. We know that the Mount St. Helens was 0.25 square kilometers. That happened in 1980. Then we have Pinatubo, 1991, 5 cubic kilometers. Yellowstone Mesa Falls was 1.3 million years ago, was 280 cubic kilometers. Long Valley Caldera, 760,000 years ago, was twice that much. It was 580 cubic kilometers. The Yellowstone Lava Creek eruption that happened 640,000 years ago was 1,000 cubic kilometers. The Huckleberry Ridge Yellowstone eruption that happened 2.1 million years ago was a huge 2,450 square kilometers. And the Toba eruption that happened 74,000 years ago was the biggest. That was 2,800 cubic kilometers. And of course, these last three, Yellowstone, Lava Creek, the Huckleberry, and the Toba, were extinction level events. Now, on rare occasions throughout history, the supervolcano's magma chamber has erupted here in Yellowstone. The overwhelming majority of those eruptions in Yellowstone have been smaller lava flows, with the last occurring at Pitchstone Plateau. That was 70,000 years ago, and from what they say, we have another 80 eruptions since then. Now, the reason why Yellowstone receives so much media attention is the slim possibility of apocalyptic super-eruptions, and such a super-eruption is anything that measures magnitude 8 or more on the volcanic explosivity index, in which at least 240 cubic miles, that's 1,000 cubic kilometers of material, gets ejected, enough to bury the state of Texas 5 feet deep. And let's take a look at the supervolcanoes and VEIs of the world. This is by Tom Fish Express UK. Here we are with a map of from Wikipedia of the list of known supervolcanoes, VEI 8 and VEI 7. Of course, they're not all known here. This is very few, but we have a few of the VEI 8. This one here in Canada. These here in Wyoming, Yellowstone, and these VEI 7, VEI 8, and VEI 7 here in Mexico. And we have here Vesuvius and Campi Flegrei, which are right next to each other, flanking Naples, as we saw in the video yesterday. That's the European supervolcano. And then we have Santorini here. That's a VEI 7. So, and of course a lot more here around Peru and Chile. So, going back to this, the supervolcanoes, the eruption of the volcanic explosivity index of 8, the largest recorded value on the index. This means the volume of deposits of an eruption is greater than 1,000 cubic kilometers, and they occur when magma in the mantle rises to the crust, but it's unable to break through it, and pressure builds in large and growing magma pool until the crust is unable to contain the pressure. And this can occur in hot spots, for example, Yellowstone caldera, or in subduction zones, for example, Toba. Another hotspot is Iceland, another hotspot is Hawaii. So large volcanic volume supervolcanic eruptions are also often associated with large igneous provinces. As we know, we have them in India and Siberia, right here. We can't see that very well, but okay. Igneous provinces, you have them all over the place, which can cover huge areas with lava and volcanic ash, and they can be going off, they can be erupting for thousands of years. Here we have the location of the Yellowstone hotspot over time, indicating millions of years before the present. 16 million, 15, 12. This is Boise, Idaho, craters of the moon around here, and making its way up to Yellowstone right there. Okay, that's Yellowstone Lake, Hebgen Lake, as you can see. Okay, it's going over the hot spot. So the Earth is growing and changing. You can see how much it's changed in 16 million years. These are the flood basalt igneous provinces worldwide, as we can see. Okay, West Coast, Greenland, Iceland. This is Scandinavia, India, and Siberian traps, you can see here. So all this, you can imagine what was going on millions of years ago. 66, the hotspot in Deccan Trap 66 million years ago, that was the time of the asteroid strike that gave the extinction of the dinosaurs. So this is on supervolcano information from Wikipedia. Please leave your comments about this and thank you for your support.